So good morning fellows, and today is a great day. I'm sorry I have been not posting for a while, and I say that in mostly all the videos, and then again I decide to post more frequently, but then again I don't post more frequently, and then again I apologize. So you know what, just try to understand, I am a student and I have been going through some things, and so that's why I have not been posting. I've had no time to make videos and post, so just bear with me for a while now. But today is a great day. And as you can see, we are in quite a different setup here. And that is because we are going to start a new series on this channel, and that is called as Table Talks. That's what you're watching this on the same channel, but this is like a little bit of different playlist in which I talk, or as the name suggests, the table is going to talk about some different technologies. I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk about some different technologies and the latest and the greatest technologies that we can get our hands on. And when I say we can get our hands on, I'm not saying about technologies like the iPhone 11 Pro or the iPhone 11 Pro Max or the Samsung S10 and the Note series and so on and so forth. I'm talking about technologies through technologies that we can use, and with a simple knowledge or a little bit of complex knowledge, we can use these technologies to make something even better or even bigger, if all this what I said actually makes sense. But anyways, I'm going to try my best to not try to talk something that does not make sense, and so let's get started. So as you can see, what we have here today is pretty similar, okay? We're going to talk about this car pretty lot in this channel, because this is like actually a remote control car that I went ahead and I bought, but I did not bring it just to play with it, but I actually bought it to play with it in sort of like a different perspective. So what I'm actually doing with this car is I've just taken the chassis of this car. All the electronics except for the motors are removed from this car. The top casing is removed from this car. The transmitter receiver is removed from this car. There were a couple of lights on this car. Everything basically is just removed. Everything that you can actually see right now is mostly what I have built, and this down part is the chassis, and that's the main thing, or the main reason why I went ahead and behind the scenes bought this car and tweaked it and sort of like try to understand how this car works, so that I could use this car for all my automotive or automobile projects. So this is an automobile project, and there are many other automobile projects which I'll be building using this car's chassis as the base. So whenever you're building an automobile or something of that sort, a small mini project or a project, what you have to do is you have to start from the scratch. So what you have to do is use sort of like some wheels, and then you have to use a different kind of chassis, and this thing uses these motors. These are DC motors, they use DC motors, but there are a couple of reduction gears here, speed reduction gears. So what these speed reduction gears do actually is, this motor does not have torque, but it has quite an amount of speed, right? So speed is controlled by voltage and torque is controlled by ampere. So these motors cannot handle a lot of ampere, so they pull in a lot of voltage, and what they do is they run really fast, but when you put a little bit of force on them, they stop running. That's because they don't have the torque. They don't have the power to push things or hold on to things, or they just can't hold that much of force on them. But they have a lot of speed. So what these gears do is they are designed in such a ratio or a mathematical calculation in such a way that the speed is reduced and the torque is increased. So because of these gears, the speed comes down, the motor becomes slower, or the end effect becomes slower, but it has more force now. So this is what we use for such chassis. And so this gets to be very complicated. Like, you have to start from the very scratch, and you will have to build each of these components for each of these cars projects that you're making. So what I planned instead is just use one basic awesome kind of chassis on which I can pretty much like comfortably build all my different kind of projects on the same chassis. So this top part comes out, and then I can swap this part, and then I can build whatever thing I want with this part, and then I can just make the project, and the base remains the same. And also this base has quite some features that I will not, or anyone will not be able to build or have with these chassis, like suspension. These chassis do not have that, and as you can see, they are very low to the ground. So if you want to have some testings done of your particular vehicle on the grass or in the mud or outdoors, then you'll have to have a different kind of setup or a different kind of plan, and making these plans and setups will take quite an amount of time. And so you get the idea. To avoid all this, what I'm doing is I'm just using one basic chassis. So this car I bought for that purpose, as I said, and then I have done some upgrades to this part, to this like the basic car, right? So the first basic upgrade that I've done is the batteries. You can see down there, that's the battery. So if the battery is not there, this car is actually, the main ground clearance of this car is quite here, but because I did not have quite a space or place on top of the car to put the battery, and the battery is really enormous, that's why I went ahead and put the battery down there. That reduces the ground clearance just a little bit, but it's okay for the application that I'm using right now. So the battery is the first basic upgrade that I've done. So this is, I think, this is a 2200 milliamp hour, 12 volt, 2 ampere battery. These batteries are mostly used for projects, and so you can get them on Amazon. And it's a really powerful battery. It takes a lot of time to charge, but it also gives you a lot of voltage, and it's a really powerful battery, and it also has a lot of output time to it. And what I have done is I put that battery in because the original battery of this car was this one, and this one is just 4.8 volts and it's 700 milliamperes. So that's 2200 milliampere and 12 volts. So all these electronics that I'm using actually can be used with these batteries, but using that battery will give me more time. Then the second thing, the second most obvious thing is that the electronics, right? So there was a small circuit board on this car, and that car used to drive two motors. So this car is actually a four-wheel drive, which means that when the car runs or when the car goes forward, all the four wheels are producing power to move forward. So what you usually see in electronic cars is when you run the car, just the back wheels, by the way, this is the back side of the car, and these wheels keep running, and the front wheels just stay idle until and unless you let go the car on the ground. That's when the rear wheels push the car forward and the four wheels just rotate. So that's not what that's not what happens on this car. That car is called as a rear wheel drive. So the rear wheels are actually driving the car forward. This is a four-wheel drive, which means, as the name suggests, again, this car has all the four wheels giving power for the car to drive forward. So that's a great thing. And this electronics that were there in this car used to drive all these four motors. There's one motor here and one motor here, and all the four wheels used to drive, and that electronic circuit also was responsible for receiving and transmitting, or mostly just receiving the signals that it used to get. Which brings me to the next upgrade, and that is the controller. So of course, when I swapped out that electronic part, because I didn't want those operations to take place, I wanted my operations to take place, and so I removed that circuit or the motherboard, the main electronic component of this car out, and I replaced it with my electronics. And so I had to go ahead and also replace this, because yes, with some adjustments I could use this controller for this project that I'm working on now, but this controller uses IR signals, or the kind of signals that your remote, a TV remote or your music player remote uses. Now those kinds of signals are used by this controller to control this car before, and as you know, you can't control IR signals from a very far away distance. So the distance that these both, the controller and the car, can be from each other was very low, and that's the main thing about this car or this project that we are going to speak in just a moment. So 3 upgrades. This is the 3rd upgrade that I did. I swapped out the controller, and there is a different kind of controller that I'm using now. In fact, the controller is a mobile phone itself. So we'll come to that in just a minute. But I also wanted to swap out something else, and that is not something that I concentrated on first. But after I built my project and I started working or testing this car, there were some things that were giving me a little bit of trouble, and that's the turning mechanism that's there in front of the car. So what this car used to use was this particular mechanism. So what's there in here is similar to what's there underneath this car. That's just a DC motor. That's this kind of DC motor, okay, which you see in most of the cars. That's the same kind of DC motor that these use, and that's the same kind of DC motor that's there underneath this car to drive the 4 wheels, right? But that's not what I wanted to have in the turning mechanism, because of the reduction gears, speed reduction gears in this one are very low. So I used to get a quick response output out of this turning mechanism as soon as I used to turn the car or steer the car, but it used to not give me a proper control over the car. So when I used to steer, the car used to totally steer to the right or totally steer to the left. And I didn't want that to with this car. I wanted to have accurate minimum or low adjustments to the direction that the car is running. And so this is what was not giving me that, and also it does not have that much of power to steer the car when the car has a lot of load on top. So when the car is quite lighter, as I said, I've swapped out the batteries, and you can see the size of the batteries has really increased. And also there are a couple of metal parts on this car now. So it was really difficult for this turning mechanism or steering mechanism to steer the car, and that's why I went ahead and swapped out this turning mechanism with a servo motor. So this is not a traditional servo motor that you always see. There are blue color servo motors, and so I swapped out that turning mechanism with this one. This one has a slightly smaller motor inside it, but it has a great ratio of speed reduction gears in that, and so it has a lot of torque. So now let's speak about the main car itself, or this main project that you can see in front of you. What this project is actually about is the NASA's new concept of space mining or asteroid mining. So basically it's space mining, but they have moved the space mining to asteroid mining. So what this space mining actually is because of mining Earth for rare metals and rare minerals and rare metals, the Earth is facing a lot of problems like earthquakes and tsunamis, etc. So we are mining our earth for rare metals and rare minerals and also water. So even after mining so much of earth for so many years, we are falling short of these minerals and this water on earth because of we have already used pretty much amount of this. So what they are planning to do is these asteroids and these other planets like Mars, which are far into the space and no one yet has already been there and has mined these or used these resources from this planet. So what NASA, what this concept of NASA actually is to move to these asteroids and these planets, collect whatever minerals and water we have so that we can use it back on Earth. That's the basic thing about these, because these asteroids, some of these asteroids are calculated to be worth billions of dollars, that is like hundreds of crores of rupees. And so what they're planning to do is collect these minerals and use them. But the first problem is that first there has to be someone to mine these particular or collect these particular resources that we want, and we cannot use, at least so far, we cannot use humans to do this particular job, right? Because we have been struggling so hard to reach Mars itself. Imagine what it would be like to reach some asteroids, because Mars is like having a particular rotations around the sun, but these asteroids, they do not have a particular part to move in. They just move in because they are just the broken down or the remaining debris of planets and some space interstellar bodies. So the thing is that it's very difficult to put human and machines both together on such asteroids and these planets to collect these metals for us. And also the cost of getting these humans and these machines on those asteroids and those planets is going to be very high and also very risky and complicated. So what I plan instead is robots, to get robots on these asteroids and planets to do the work that humans and these machines were both together going to do. And so these robots are called as space mining robots. And what these robots are actually responsible for doing is collecting these resources, but in a specific manner. There is something about getting materials or minerals from the space to the earth to use that. There is some highly complicated science behind it, which makes this very inefficient project or inefficient process. And so what they have planned is to mine for such materials like, for example, water, and use this water in space itself, because first of all, there are humans in space like the International Space Station, and in future, as per Elon Musk or the SpaceX project, there are going to be quite a lot of humans, if that goes well, quite a lot of humans are going to reach space or Mars. And so taking these metals or these materials from Earth, like water and minerals from Earth to these planets for these humans in space to use, it's going to be very difficult and it's going to be very expensive. And that's why what we can do actually is use these metals and this water from space to be used in space itself. It reduces the cost of getting these resources from our Earth into the space. And so the main thing right now about these resources is water. So they're going to mine for water, they're going to search for water, and this water is going to be converted or separated. Oxygen and hydrogen is going to be separated from this water, and this hydrogen is going to be used to refuel satellites or space equipment. So the space equipment uses mostly hydrogen, or at least hydrogen can be used in the space equipment to run these equipments, and also to burn these equipments we need oxygen, which also we can find in water. So they're going to separate this oxygen and hydrogen from this water, and this hydrogen is going to be used for the space equipment. And the main lifespan of the space equipment depends upon their fuel, because these equipments cannot be refueled in the space, because there is not a lot of refueling stations in the space for these equipments. And so if we use this water to refuel the space equipment, the lifespan of these particular space equipments will increase. So that's the basic idea behind this project. So what this is actually is just a small teeny tiny part of this particular project, or at least a replica of what is actually going on. So this is a robot that is a space miner, as you can see here. So now what this robot actually does is this basic idea. It is deployed by satellites or a rocket on different planets or asteroids using different techniques. There are a couple of techniques here, and then this is what is actually going to just search for the resources that we require. So you can see here, there's not a lot of equipment because this is just a basic thing, and also there is not a lot of tanks here to collect all those resources. So what this particular or this robot actually just does, it just tests the soil or whatever mud we have on these asteroids and these planets, and finds out, or at least collects samples for them to be brought back on Earth or into the space laboratories and tested whether we can find what we need there. And so how this robot does that is by using this equipment which is placed behind this robot. So this is actually basically, as you can see, it's a drill. And what this part of the drill does is, if you go deeper into this concept, there is a nozzle or a hose inside, or a hole inside this drill itself. So as the drill drills into the soil, it collects those samples from within the drill bits, and so it does not have to have additional equipment to first drill and then collect those samples. So that's what this is about. So the main thing that I said about technologies, our latest technologies we can use to make certain projects, is the main thing about this card that I want to speak today is this particular circuit, and that is the Node MCU. So Node MCU is quite similar to that of Arduino. So what the Node MCU has that the Arduino does not have is connectivity to the internet. Now, as I said, that this particular car is going to be in space and it's not going to have humans around it to control it. And this is not a high-tech robot for it to have AI built in it so that it can do or carry out these operations by itself. So we'll have to control this from Earth. So this particular circuit can be programmed and it can be connected to the internet. Now, how internet works is what we need to basically just have an idea about. So what actually happens is something like this. So there is a smartphone which is connected to the internet. So when you connect the internet and you send a signal to another smartphone, this is what actually happens basically. So the smartphone transmits the signal to an antenna or a tower of this connection that you're using near you, and that signal that is transmitted from the phone to the antenna goes to the satellite, and then the satellite connects to the nearest antenna near to the phone that you're trying to connect with. So that's what basically happens when you're trying to transmit or communicate with a different kind of mobile phone using internet. So the problem with this car being controlled using internet from Earth on other planets is that Earth has these towers and these mobile phones. Now, these other asteroids are not going to have these towers. They are going to have a device, that is this device that can connect to the internet, and also there are going to be satellites, or we can at least have satellites closer to these asteroids and planets, satellites that are capable of transmitting and receiving and transmitting, or at least processing or sending or helping to communicate different internet connections or communications between Earth and these other asteroids and planets. So there is a device on Earth, there are these towers on Earth that help the satellite to connect with the mobile phones or the device, and there is also this satellite in space, and there is also this device, that connects to the internet on these other asteroids. But what we do not have is this tower that helps this device, which has a very low range of connectivity compared to this tower, because this phone cannot completely and directly communicate with the satellite. So this tower is one of the problems that are going to be faced for communication between this device and the device we use to control this car from Earth. So that brings us to the second part of this project, and the second part of this project is kind of like a satellite or a lander that is used to land or deploy this robot on this different satellite. So this lander that we are going to use, which is going to be actually the payload of in the rocket that we are going to launch. So this payload is going to have this lander, and in that lander is going to be a robot. So when the lander lands, it stays in one particular position on the planet, and that is what is going to be used, or that is what we are going to use as a tower for this robot to connect to the device that we are controlling this robot with. So that's basically the idea behind this robot, and the idea behind this robot is that, but this technology, this node MCU technology, is also used in different places like home automations and other cars as well. So basically we have this event in our college where we had a couple of students building different projects on these using this technology of node MCU that can be connected to the internet and controlled from anywhere. And so this is how this car works.